Hello. I'm back. I forgot to check the comments. I just realized I forgot to check the comments, so I won't be responding to any comments right now. Oh, I gotta fill this up. Today I'm going to look for... Well, I guess my main goal is just to get gunpowder so I can make more rockets. But that means that I'm going to look for a desert temple, because desert temples tend to carry a lot of gunpowder in their chests. So that's the goal of today. It's mostly just going to be running around. So hopefully I can get a lot of yapping done. I haven't been able to do that for a while. Hello, dog. With my elytra. This is fine. I'm just going to go in this direction, I guess. East. It feels right. I was thinking today, because I'm not a religious person, and I wouldn't even say that I'm spiritual. I acknowledge that, like, there might be something after life, but I have no sense of, like, faith. Hang on, let me go turn on my AC really quick. Sorry. So I acknowledge that there might be something afterwards, but I have no sort of hope or faith that anything is after. And from like a purely logistical standpoint, it makes more sense to have some sort of religion or faith or some sort of spirituality, because that gives you a reason to continue living. And so I find myself, because I don't necessarily believe in that stuff, I can't push myself to believe in that. There's no proof, and I'm not the type of person to have faith in something without any substantial ground to stand on. And it's not like I've sat here my entire life and denied it. I've tried. I've gone to a couple of churches. I've let the missionaries attempt to convert me. You know, they'll sit there with me, and they're like, they FaceTime me every single night because they're trying so hard to convert me, and you know, they want to do prayer with me, and they want to talk about God with me and all this stuff, and I just never get into it. It feels so... It's mean to say this because it is kind of downplaying other people's beliefs, but it just feels kind of ridiculous to me. Not in the sense that I think like you're lesser than me for believing in it, but just in the sense that I feel a little silly. It feels a little, I don't know, silly is the word I'm going to use. And I remember one time they had me like lead their prayer. I didn't even know what the hell to pray about. And they were like, you know, just talk about like family and friends and everybody that you wish to be safe, everybody that you wish to have good health. If there is anybody struggling in your life, you know, pray for them. And I did. And they were like, did you feel like the Holy Father's embrace? And I was like, no. What the fuck does that mean? And they're like you didn't feel like his warmth envelop you? And I was like, I feel warm, but I think that's just because I'm embarrassed. Like, it was embarrassing sitting here with like three dudes that I've never, that I like barely know, and talk about all the people that I care about. That's embarrassing. And they were like, you don't think that that's like the Father's embrace? And I was like, nah, man, I know what embarrassment feels like. This is embarrassment. And so, you know, the question obviously comes up for me of like, why even live then, right? And I'm not going to get dark, all right? Let's preface this with, I'm not going to get dark. Well, you know, I might dip into it, but I'll bring it back. I'll bring it back. Don't worry. You know, why live if I don't believe in anything after life necessarily? I acknowledge the possibility. If I don't necessarily believe in anything after life, and there's no... You know, life's hard right now. I work at a job for minimum wage. I get paid like 50 cents less than half my coworkers who do less work than me. Which, you know, 50 cents is so minuscule. It's honestly just insulting at that point. It's not even that impactful. I would have maybe like an extra couple $100 at this point. Which, you know, given my financial standing, would be nice if I had an extra couple hundred. But it's aside the point. I have that, you know. I live alone. And living alone has its own... Obviously, it's nice, right? I get to do whatever I want, whenever I want. I can sit here at... It's 3:30 in the morning right now, and I could talk and not have to worry about waking somebody else up and being disruptive to their sleep. I can make whatever I want for dinner, and I never have to worry about what they want for dinner. If I mess up and I burn the food, I don't need to be like, oh, man... I let the people that I cook dinner for down. I cook dinner for me. It's, you know, obviously it comes with a lot of perks. But on the flip side, the other side of the coin, sometimes you'll be sitting there and you're just doing laundry, and suddenly like a wave of I guess loneliness washes over you. And you're sitting there, you're doing totally fine. You're listening to like your favorite playlist. You're doing laundry. You're doing the dishes. You're sweeping up the living room, whatever it is, right? And you just get this sense of like, I'm really alone. I really am just sitting here, and there's nobody else around me. And you know, I live with pets, so you can argue that I'm not really alone. It's different. You know, it's very different being around some cats as opposed to being with people. And I'm somebody who I have discovered about myself in my adulthood. I'm very dependent on the company of other people. I shouldn't say dependent, but it means a lot to me. It has a big effect on my mood to be around the people that I care about. Hello, somebody's shooting at me. So, what's supposed to be there? Up there, hello. And so living alone obviously comes with its struggles for me. Some people might not have to deal with the... Man, I forgot to bring a pouch. Some people might have to deal with the emotions that I deal with living alone. Good for them, you know, whatever. I'm not jealous that you could sit there and live alone and not feel bad about it. But my point being, right, with all of this, is why keep going if there's not really anything for me right now? And for me, there isn't much of a reason. But my reason, that's northeast. So I'm going this way. Sorry, I'm going this way. Yeah? Yeah, this way. So, I'm sorry. For me, I lost exactly where I was in the train of thought. So where I am is why keep going if there's nothing after, and it's just kind of hard right now. One, it's not that bad. There's a lot of people that have it a lot worse than me, and it would be kind of cowardly of me to do that. Two, there are people that care about me, and whether or not I want to pretend like these and right, nothing afterwards, whatever. If there's nothing afterwards, I don't need to worry about it. It's not my problem that they're gonna be sad that I'm gone. I don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to the it's not my problem, I don't have to deal with it. Because that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's my problem or not. What matters is that I'm causing other people emotional turmoil. I'm causing other people strife and pain when I don't have to. That's stupid to do that. And selfish. Listen, I've recently been told by somebody that they don't believe in the selfishness. They're like, I don't think it's a selfish act. And they had some good points. So I'm not going to sit here and act like what I think is correct. This is just what I think. It would be selfish of me. In my situation alone and specifically, it would be selfish of me. Damn. And so that's a big reason why I wouldn't want to, cease living. Another big reason is if there really is nothing after this, why would I not want to experience it now? I am not going to get a second chance. And when I'm gone, I'm gone. So why would I be in such a rush to be gone? This is a lot of books. Holy crap. Also, no creepers is kind of insane this entire time. And even though the days right now feel difficult, and I'm not really in a place that I like right now, job-wise or like my living situation-wise. Don't get me wrong, my home is great. I literally live like 10 feet away from my grandma, and my grandma's awesome. But in terms of living alone, not great. Oh my god, the same spider from 2 episodes ago, or however long ago that was, is on my wall again. The smoker outside, wow. And there's a lot of stuff I can complain about. But what's complaining gonna do? Nothing, really. And what's, like, running away from it all gonna do? Nothing. So, why not just continue living to see tomorrow? Because maybe you'll experience something new tomorrow that you could never have expected. And maybe it's terrible, but also maybe it's a little magical, I know things didn't work out with that girl, but I went to my shitty dead-end job, and I met somebody that was cute, and she flirted with me. I got her number, and that was cool. Nothing resulted of it, but it was something I got to experience that made that day worth waking up. And I want to experience more things like that. I want to experience better things than that. So that's kind of why I keep going, even though I don't have any sort of spiritual belief. And then, obviously a big question then is, well, where's your moral compass lie? Be a good person. That's where my moral compass is. I don't need any sort of God or religious figure to tell me how I should act. Because here's the thing. Damn, this is sick. Here's the deal. Dude, this is awesome. Here's the deal. If there is a God, and said God is a righteous one, I will be rewarded in the afterlife for living a virtuous life as, a mortal or whatever. If there is a God and they are not, of good faith, if they are, say, evil, tyrannical, why would I want to spend my entire life worshiping them? And if there is no God, why would I spend my entire life worshiping a made-up God? So, no matter which way you want to look at it, being a good person just solves all the problems. Now, everything religion and spirituality aside, in terms of being a good person, it just makes more sense to be kind to people, because kindness breeds kindness. So, and this is 100% selfish. And dude, my render distance is so low. What the hell? I just realized that. I thought it was like the snow this entire time. And this is 100% selfish. I recognize that. And I embrace that. I am kind to people because I believe that when I am kind, it inspires kindness within them. And they will be kind to others. And then so on and so forth until that kindness one day reaches its way back to me. That's where my moral compass lies. That's why I try to act with good faith. Why I try to give people kindness. Insane timing for the rain. So there's a little bit of insight on kind of where I'm sitting with the, because obviously I worked tonight. I closed. I got off at around midnight. I was complaining to our dishwasher. I was bringing back some dishes, and I was like, dude, this is this is bullshit that I gotta be here right now. I gotta be here alone. I'm cleaning up after a party of about 50 people. And I gotta do it alone. I gotta bust all their tables and put away all the stuff that they used. And then, whatever, right? And then I gotta bring all the dirty dishes back to my dishwasher. He's gotta clean all that shit by himself. We're both in shit situations, and I was complaining about it. And I was like, it blows that I gotta do all this shit alone, and you gotta do all this shit alone. And we don't get paid nearly as much as we should. And then the entire day, I had my managers, they were in a bad mood. For some reason, that's my fault. They were in a bad mood, and so the entire day, they were on my ass about every little thing going on. And, oh my god, I didn't bring a water bucket. What is wrong with me? I have iron, don't I? Yeah, let's make one. So, like, I'm just chilling out, doing my thing. I'm not chilling out. I was sweating for the majority of my shift. At my bowling alley minimum wage job. Listen, the second I feel that bead of sweat drip down my bald head, I'm like, it's done. I'm trying too hard. I need to tone it back a little bit. And so I'm sitting there. I just finished cleaning up our little VIP lounge, right? Huge party in there. The guy who hosted the party left without cleaning up. Super messed up. Really annoying when they do that. They're just like, oh, not my problem. And then, I can't even do anything about it. Every time I go to a manager and I'm like, hey, that guy just left and didn't clean up after his party. He got a $100 tip from that party. He didn't split it with any of us, and now we have to clean up his mess. This is insane looking, by the way. Holy. And, they don't do anything about it. They don't care enough. It doesn't affect them. It's nothing that they got to deal with. The only thing that they got to deal with is coming up to me and being like, hey, go clean that up. And I'm like, brother, where's the fairness? This is a tall tree. And so, whatever, right? I'm cleaning all that shit up. And I just left. I just brought it all back to our dish pit. And I walked out. And one of the server assistants asked if he could use the cart that I used to bring back all the dishes. And I was like, yeah, bro, go for it. But I'm going to need it again after you're done. Because this other party, taking up 5 bowling lanes and 4 dining tables, I was like, they're about to be done, so I'm going to need to have the cart back. So let me know when you're done with it. And he was like, for sure. And I walk back over to the bowling lanes. And my manager goes, "What's all this?" And I was like, dishes from a party that I am not the host of. That's not necessarily my responsibility. I was going to clean it up in about 5 minutes. And he was like, "Why are you not cleaning it now?" And I was like, "Because I don't have the cart." And he goes, "So what, it's preventing you from picking up dishes?" And I was like, "Dude, they just left. It's not like this has been sitting out here. I'm going to do it when I get the cart back because it's going to be easier on me." And he's like, "Oh. Well, I want you to do it now." Okay. Why? Who's it affecting? Honestly, if I start now or if I start later, it's going to take the same amount of time. It's going to get done at around the same time because if I start without the cart, then I'm doing so many trips back and forth that, like, it's not going to matter. If I do it with the cart, then I just have to do one trip. Anyways. I was complaining about work. Exactly how I am right now. To my coworker. And he was like, "Dude, why are we even doing this?" And I was like, "In hopes that tomorrow will be better." And I mean, that's it, right? In hopes that tomorrow will be just a little bit better. And for me, that's enough. No, oh, okay, I thought the cat just died. That's all I need. Just to hope that tomorrow is going to be better. And I don't think I will run out of that hope, because you never know what tomorrow's going to be. There's no way to know what tomorrow is going to be. So, why not wake up for tomorrow? And I think that encourages me to get out of the house a little bit. Right? Because so many days I spend... And I just spend the entire day in the house. And I always feel terrible afterwards, you know. Because then the end of the day comes, the sun goes down, and I'm like, man, now I can't leave the house. I spent all day doing literally nothing. And the spontaneity of just everyday life, which is insane, right? To say that, the spontaneity of everyday life. It feels so wrong. Because every day is so unbelievably monotonous, right? Wake up, make breakfast, maybe make some lunch, go to work. Like, now I'm falling into this routine of make a video before going to bed. Oh, you're having a little bath. Cute. Maybe make a video before going to bed. You know, I really wish I brought that hoe with me. Me when I go to a bar and nobody's flirting with me. Sorry, that was that was in bad taste. And every day just feels kind of exactly the same. I gotta go to the store tomorrow. I gotta pick up probably the same food I picked up last week. 2 weeks ago. I haven't gone to the store in a while. You know, it's all... This is insanely underwhelming, this blacksmith. I guess I'll take out bread. Whatever. Oh, you know what? I could use the apples. I might want golden apples eventually to cure villagers. Where was I? Every day is so monotonous, right? It's... I write poetry from time to time, mostly as a release, an emotional release, because sometimes things get a little overwhelming for me, and I start to get in my own head, and I don't know what to do with everything rushing through my mind, so writing things down helps work through those thoughts, and kind of, it forces me to make sense of my thoughts. Anyways, I would write a lot about the monotony of life, which is so counterintuitive to what I've been saying for the past 20 minutes. And I would write about how life was kind of like this thing that the monotony of it all was just a weapon used to bludgeon me until there was nothing left. Until I had no more will to go. Oh, man. I thought I could get him with 2 hits. There goes my 1 chance at gunpowder so far. And that is true, to an extent, yeah? Life is extremely monotonous. And it is something that, if gone unchecked, you can drown in. You can be crushed under the weight of that monotony. You know, and I think that's where a lot of people's, at least that's where, like, my areas of depression or anxiety may come from. It's not because anything particularly bad is happening. It's because nothing is happening. And it feels so, is that, damn, bamboo forest. Hang on, I need that. And that sucks. I hate feeling like that. I hate feeling like nothing is going on in my life. But to give you guys a counter argument to this, that's not true. At least that's not the only truth. Life isn't just full of monotonous garbage. It's so much more than that. I don't need this. It's so much more than that if you let it be more than that. If you don't sit around and wait for something to happen. Obviously, every day is going to be extremely monotonous if I spend all day on my days off just sitting inside doing nothing. Something's going to happen if I go outside and I experience life. And I go and I talk to people. And I experience things, right? Obviously going to the store. I'm not going to expect anything to happen. Maybe something will. Maybe I'll have an insightful conversation with somebody. Maybe I won't. Right? And that's fine. If you've ever heard of Littlewood's Law of Miracles, it goes something along the lines of you experience at least 1 million events a week. It's big or small, right? Me seeing that spider on my wall. Hello. I keep letting these guys blow up. Little or small, you experience about 1 million events a week. With that being said, and I'm sure most of us can agree on that. Okay, I can kill him in 2. I'm just stupid and dumb. With that being said, if you go through your week, you are bound to experience, on average, at least 1 event that is a 1 in a million odds. In other words, a miracle. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, why haven't I experienced a miracle lately yet? You're not looking for them. And I know that sounds stupid. And what you need to realize is that people who experience the most miracles are religious people. Now, when they experience a miracle, they view it as an act of God. And they thank God for said miracle. And that is confirmation of their belief. It's because they're looking for it. You gotta look for the miracles. And not all of the miracles, right? Miracle is normally associated with something good. And that's why I'm a little adverse to the term miracle. But think of it as something incredibly unlikely. Something extremely unlucky might happen to you. And that's Littlewood's Law of Miracles. It is bound to happen. You are bound to experience something incredibly unlucky. It's not your karma. It's not something you did in a previous life. It is just probability working itself out. It is bound to happen to you. Same goes for the inverse. You are bound to experience something insanely lucky. Or it could be a completely neutral thing. Like you talk to a friend about a certain scene in a specific episode on a TV show, and then a week later, somebody references that exact scene to you, a different person. That's extremely improbable. And it's like a niche show, something that people don't normally watch. That's extremely improbable. It's not necessarily good or bad. It's just something that you're like, holy shit, that's insane that I just experienced that. So that kind of ties into the monotony of life, yeah? You're bound to experience something crazy. You might not always notice it. And that's why it's important to look out for it. To be conscious of what you're experiencing. To sit there and either throughout the day, at the end of the day, at the end of your week. At the end of the week might be a little bit too much. It's best to do it throughout the day. I've found it's best to do it throughout the day. To sit back and just kind of reflect on what happened. What went on. And what that's helped me with a lot, too. I know this video's dragging on. I'm going to end it after this thought. What that's helped me a lot with is realizing that my bad days really aren't that bad. I just had maybe a bad 15 minutes. And I kind of let it fuck me over. I allowed that to ruin the next 4 hours. And so I do it especially now when I am... Oh, wait, I need to kill you. I forgot. God damn it, I hate you. I do it especially now when I notice that I'm kind of in a bad mood. So I sit there and I think about what went on today. And I realize that most of the time, it really hasn't been a bad day. I maybe had one bad thing happen to me. Big whoop, In the grand scheme of things, does it matter? Did it matter? Will it matter tomorrow? Probably not, Now, having to spend $850 on new tires because I got one nail in my tire, that's something that could put a dampen on my day. Who cares? Right? I'm still going to wake up tomorrow. That's why I put aside all my financial aid. It's for when stuff like that happens. That's why I don't just buy every new video game that comes out, because I need that cushion. So, anyways, there are my thoughts for the day. I didn't really do anything. I just couldn't find a freaking desert. Found a couple of villages. That was it. Whatever. I go to the savannah. Maybe there's a desert next to it. Nope, that looks like a regular forest next to it. No, it's just an oak tree in the savannah. Yeah. I'll land on this island and then I'll call the video there. Where are we? Traveled about 7,000 blocks. Not bad. Alright. Thank you for joining me on my adventure. I'll see you guys next time. Later.